On the topic of this session, we have in Baltic Development Forum done several things that are linked to the issue. We did some years ago a study over the Baltic Sea region to see whether what came out of it if we regarded the region as one country, and we wanted to optimize the infrastructure, and we wanted to optimize the links and the networks. And the outcome of this study was that there are huge potential if we were able to link the different parts of the region closer together, not least because that we have such a diversified energy mix in the region that we could really profit from what we each of us are very good at. And I think that I'm very glad that BESREC and also the European Commission has taken up some of these things that came out of this study, and I know that funds are available now for infrastructure developments, and I also think that the Baltic states have been encouraged to move forward with linking themselves to other parts of the region. I think that's really important for coming towards a more integrated and a better approach on green growth in our region. But this issue also demonstrated that perhaps a third element that we need to take into account, not only profit and ecology, but also energy security. I think energy security has been in many ways even standing in the way of profit and ecology for some years. So therefore, I just want to flag that I think that this is extremely important, and we know at the moment that Lithuania is paying a higher price on gas from neighboring producers. So of course, this is an important issue, energy security, and I hope really that the cooperation and the BMIP framework can help overcome some of these obstacles, because I think they are standing in the way of moving more in a common agreement, understanding of green growth is about. We did some years ago, last year in our State of the Region report also a study on green growth in the region to see whether there was a clear pattern of cooperation in the sector. But it shows that there are so many, it's very diversified, there are in many different sectors and many different levels. So it's a little bit too early to be able to draw any conclusions of where the priorities are at the moment. But I think that more should be looked into it, and I think that it could disclose some priorities that we do not know of as of today. But the private sector is something that you asked me asked us to address. Perhaps I will take the starting point from a visit I had to Vilnius 2 weeks ago, where I was invited in a business delegation, mainly Danish Nordic companies. And I saw that, first place, this visit was organized now. I think it reflects that the Baltic states are now out of the crisis, and that the energy, the green growth, the clean tech agenda has moved up, and now, in some sense, there's now economic capacity to address this issue again, and I think that was the reason why it was timed in this way, and therefore I think that it's very good that we can now, perhaps all of us, share this idea of green growth, at least that we have now a higher economic capacity to take it on board, because of course there is an immediate contradiction of the two. The whole idea of green growth is to overcome this contradiction and to show that through clean tech investments and eco-innovations, we are able to produce economic growth, have higher economic performance while improving the environment and also the maritime ecology, and improve the situation there. But there was very little public-private dialogue during this business trip, and I think, and perhaps here we are discussing also more, maybe from a public sector, and the issue is, of course, how to bring the two sectors more closely together. I have arrived at the conclusion that I think that the cooperation that we've seen within smart cities and between cities is a very good approach. Cities have also, during the crisis, consistently pursued this agenda of clean tech investments, And it's often in the cities that the different aspects come together. They are close to the citizens, they have to deliver clean products, clean water, energy, waste management and all that. And they are in a regular dialogue with the private sector on delivering technologies in this area. So I think that the smart city concept is something that we should make use of. We know the major capitals and metropolises of our region have already done a lot and come very far in implementing this concept. And so I think they're already doing quite well. I don't think this is what we should focus on this level. What we should focus on now is just the cities below the capitals and the metropolises. And here I think there's really a lot to learn from each other across the Baltic Sea. I think there is a good way of having a public-private dialogue on many of these issues. I'm saying this because we have received some seed money to develop a smart city concept on the level of small and middle-sized cities in the Baltic Sea region. We have a fantastic network of more than 100 cities cooperating today. You know, in the rest of Europe, they are trying to encourage cities to work together, but we already have in place more than 100 cities that can work together. And I think this is a resource that should be used. The Union of Baltic Cities is part of this project, and they are also willing to move ahead and also want to make more use of this capacity of cross-border and cross-Baltic Sea cooperation. I think that's a way forward. Financing has been mentioned, and I just want to say one word of that, which has come to me during my stay here in Vilnius, actually, when talking to certain of the banks and the financial sector. I was very surprised to learn that the big private-owned capital pension schemes and pension funds in the Baltic states, which most of them are foreign-owned, they invest in local companies 0.15%. 0.15% they invest in local companies. And I think this is absurd low level, and it would never go down and be accepted. For example, in my home, my country, Denmark, I think that pension schemes and pension funds, through pension schemes and funds, they invest about 40-50% in local companies. I think here that there's something that needs to be addressed and even looked more into. And I'm really admire even more how the three Baltic states were able to come out of the crisis in such a way without really having the push and support of the pension funds. This is a new thing that have come up to my attention. I think it's something that we should make much more use of. It's good that we have the EIB and the EIF giving Baltic innovation funds for projects, but I think the private sector should and ought to be much more involved in this. I think I will limit myself to these comments, but would like to take part in the debate on these issues. So thank you very much.